It was a month ago yesterday that Rick James was arrested along with his girlfriend Tanya Hijazi for allegedly imprisoning a 24-year-old woman in his Hollywood Hills home, torturing her allegedly with a hot cocaine pipe and forcing her to commit sexual acts on his girlfriend.
I feel like it was very appropriate to get married to the state of New York. I'm all of both worlds here.
In the world of celebrities, money and fame don't always bring a peaceful, happy life. On the contrary, they can sometimes ignite fits of madness. Some black stars who once climbed to the peak of glory tumbled into the abyss of scandal due to a single moment of losing control, self-destruction, violence, abuse. No one could have guessed that, in the shadows of the stage, the legends we admired would exhibit such impulsive, aggressive, or bizarre behavior. The 17 stories I'm about to share will expose the shocking actions of these black stars that left the world stunned by their madness. These acts also serve as stark proof of a bitter truth. Fame doesn't guarantee stability, and sometimes it's the very thing that fuels insanity. 17. Eldridge Cleaver. The rebel activist who turned violence into revolution. Eldridge Cleaver was one of the most powerful figures in the Black Panther movement, an ambitious politician and fiery activist with a heart ablaze for justice. He made his mark with sharp writings, bold ideas, and a commanding voice against social injustice. But behind that aura was a dark past, where violence and extremist ideology seeped into the depths of his soul. In the 1950s, before becoming a Black Panther icon, Cleaver lived in a grim world of racial discrimination. His childhood was surrounded by poverty, oppression, and relentless prejudice. It's no surprise that he carried a fierce anger, a volatile mindset ready to explode at every injustice. In the prison system, where he was locked up for theft and drugs, his radical ideas took root. Violence wasn't just rebellion, it became a tool for Cleaver to assert his power, and terrifyingly, he viewed rape as a revolutionary act, a way to overcome fear and seize control. In his 1968 autobiography, Soul on Ice, Cleaver coldly admitted to raping white women, seeing it as an act of defiance, a manifestation of his hatred for a racist society. This extremist ideology made him a polarizing figure in the black community and beyond. Those revelations not only drew outraged stares, but left a permanent stain on his legacy. By the 1960s and later, as Cleaver moved away from extremism to become a more moderate activist, his past clung to him. The violent acts of his youth and the words in Soul on Ice turned him into a figure both celebrated and cursed, a man of contradictions, a brilliant rebel, but also someone once lost in deranged thoughts. His fame couldn't fully shake off that dark shadow, and now, when Eldridge Cleaver's name comes up, people don't just recall his powerful revolutionary voice, but shake their heads in disbelief at the extreme actions he once admitted to. 16. James Brown, the godfather of soul, succumbs to violent madness. James Brown, the icon of soul music, brought electrifying dances and a voice that moved millions, earning global adoration. With a decades-long career and countless history-making hits, Brown wasn't just an exceptional singer and dancer, but a cultural pioneer who took soul to the world's peak. His success immortalized his name, but behind it was a chaotic life, full of storms, where madness often overtook his reason. In September 1988, James Brown sent Georgia and South Carolina into a frenzy. He stormed into an insurance company in Augusta, Georgia, brandishing a gun and threatening employees. Minutes later, as police arrived, the threat turned into a high-speed chase straight out of a movie. Brown tore through crowded streets, shouting at police, "You'll never catch me!" Sirens blared across the city as cop cars trailed him, weaving through narrow streets in a chaotic, unforgettable scene. This event became a vivid testament to Brown's unstable mental state, driven by PCP and cocaine addiction into violent, uncontrollable behavior. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Brown's relationships were steeped in violence. His wife, Adriana Rodriguez, and several girlfriends were victims of his rages. Initially, Brown publicly denied the allegations, calling them misunderstandings, but records and reports revealed chilling details of his frequent use of violence to dominate and control loved ones. These acts, attributed to career and financial pressures, created a chain of troubles beyond imagination. The fallout from these reckless actions wasn't just a tarnished image, but serious legal consequences. After the 1988 chase, Brown was sentenced to 6 years in prison for assault and resisting police, released early in 1991. The Godfather of Soul title endured, but it now came with indelible scandals, stories of violence that made the public shudder. No one could have imagined that James Brown, who lit up stages with boundless energy, would be consumed by the darkness of anger and addiction, proof that talent and madness can coexist. 15. Ike Turner, A Chaotic Life of Control and Violence. Ike Turner was a gifted musician and renowned producer who helped shape soul and rock and roll with explosive stage creations. Alongside Tina Turner, he formed the legendary Ike and Tina Turner Revue, taking soul to global heights. That dazzling success made Ike a music industry powerhouse, but backstage, he was a brutal and deranged figure. From the 1960s to 1976, Ike Turner turned Tina's life and career into a living hell. He controlled every aspect of her existence, from stage rehearsals to personal decisions. Who she could hang out with, where she could eat, who she could call. Her career was manipulated, with major decisions needing his approval, and beatings, death threats, and even gunpoint intimidation became routine. During this time, Tina lived in constant fear, enduring Ike's terrifying wrath, especially when fueled by cocaine and alcohol. Ike once said that if she left, he'd kill her. These acts, initially perhaps a tactic for control, became a prolonged habit of mental and physical abuse. The stage was where they shone, but behind the bright lights were unstoppable rages, with Tina left to endure in silence. Drugs, alcohol, and his domineering personality created a vicious cycle where violence escalated, fracturing both their relationship and career. Finally, in 1976, Tina fled Ike with just pennies in her pocket, ending 13 years of torment and starting her path to freedom. The Ike and Tina Turner Revue dissolved, Tina's solo career soared, while Ike faced public outrage over his abuse allegations and multiple drug-related arrests. His reputation and career hit rock bottom, leaving only the image of a controlling, violent madman weighing on the music industry's memory. Ike Turner's life became a textbook case of how power can become a cage for its wielder. 14. Miles Davis. The eccentric jazz legend Miles Davis was a jazz icon, a musical genius who took modern jazz to its pinnacle. His revolutionary albums, unique trumpet style, and constant reinvention made him a global music idol. That success brought him fame, but few knew his personal life was a turbulent storm. In the 1960s, during his marriage to Frances Taylor, Miles Davis began showing abusive tendencies. He used words and fists to force Frances into his mold. In his 1989 autobiography, Miles, Davis admitted to these acts, saying, "I'm not proud of it, but that's how I dealt with stress." A flimsy excuse. But violence was only part of the story. His performances grew erratic and unpredictable. The pressure to constantly innovate, expectations from critics and fans, combined with heroin and cocaine addiction, turned Davis into a volatile, uncontrollable figure. Even on stage, where he was a master, his instability was clear. From the 1950s to 1970s, Davis turned his back on audiences, abandoned shows mid-performance, or played trumpet while intoxicated. One day, he'd play with wild passion, sending audiences into a musical frenzy. The next, he'd leap off the stage mid-show, shocking everyone, with media buzzing about his bizarre behavior. These acts angered and disappointed fans, crafting an image of an eccentric, rebellious artist who lived by his own rhythm, heedless of a celebrity's responsibilities. The inevitable fallout was fractured personal relationships, especially his marriage to Frances Taylor, and an increasingly controversial public image. Some fans felt offended, while others were drawn to his eccentricity and artistic power. Miles Davis became living proof that talent and madness can create timeless musical masterpieces, but also drag a person into tragic depths. 13. Richard Pryor. From comedy stage to self-destruction. Richard Pryor was one of America's comedy legends, an actor and writer who reshaped how we view stand-up. His biting, explosive performances left audiences roaring with laughter and in awe of his genius. Pryor's decades-long career earned countless awards, but behind the laughs was a stormy life, where madness and violence walked hand in hand. In June 1980, Pryor shocked the nation by setting himself on fire at his Los Angeles home. While using freebase cocaine, he doused himself with alcohol, lit a match, and ran into the street with severe burns. His body was injured 50%, requiring months of treatment and nearly costing his life. In a later performance, he joked, "I tried setting myself on fire, but I don't recommend it." This wasn't just an extreme act of addiction, but a sign of deep psychological instability, a complete loss of control under drugs and career pressures. In truth, Pryor's erratic behavior surfaced long before the self-immolation. From the 1970s to 1980s, he abused girlfriends, including Pam Grier, and showed unstable behavior on stage. He'd abandon shows mid-performance, argue with audiences, or use drugs while performing. The root of Pryor's madness was a mix of cocaine addiction, career pressures, financial troubles, and a chaotic personal life, including divorces and strained relationships. He also battled depression and long-term mental instability, making violent and erratic stage behavior inevitable. The consequences were dire, nearly costing his life and damaging his reputation. But thankfully, Pryor recovered and continued his career, becoming an icon where laughter and tragedy merged. 12. Sly Stone. The funk legend driven mad by drugs and violence. Sly Stone, leader of Sly and the Family Stone, was a musician and singer who created hits that shook the funk and soul scenes. His innovations reshaped pop and funk, making his band a 1960s cultural icon. But behind the stage's glow, Sly Stone lived an unstable life, dominated by drugs and violence. In the late 1960s to 1970s, Sly Stone showed signs of erratic behavior. He appeared on stage intoxicated, abandoned major performances without reason. At a 1970 Madison Square Garden show, he shouted, "I don't need you," at the crowd before walking off, leaving fans stunned and disappointed. Such performances weren't rare, becoming signs of a spiraling mental state, showing Sly was losing control. The madness didn't stop on stage. During rehearsals, he threatened bandmates and managers with guns, creating a tense, fearful atmosphere. Drugs, especially cocaine and PCP, were the main culprits. Sly believed drugs fueled his creativity, but they destroyed him, driving violent, erratic, uncontrollable behavior. The mix of pressure to maintain the band's success, internal conflicts, and addiction turned him from a musical genius into a volatile figure. This led to the collapse of Sly and the Family Stone in the 1970s. Abandoned shows, terrified colleagues, and constant instability eroded the band's pioneering status. Sly faced legal troubles, arrested for drug and weapon possession. Media and fans no longer just praised his talent, but noted him as a madman caught in creativity's whirlwind. 11. O.J. Simpson, the sports legend living a life of crime. O.J. Simpson was an American sports icon, a stellar football player, actor, and familiar face in commercials. His victories and accolades brought unmatched fame and wealth. but the glow of the field and film lights hid an unstable man where anger and control consumed his reason. In June 1994, Simpson was accused of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. The case stunned America with compelling evidence. Previously, Simpson had been arrested multiple times for abusing Nicole in jealous rages, showing a pattern of behavior that fueled speculation of escalation to graver crimes. When police came to his door, Simpson resisted by fleeing in his white Ford Bronco, sparking a dramatic chase with police and media in tow. The scene gripped millions. The 1995 trial became a seismic event. Simpson claimed, "I'm absolutely not guilty," but public opinion split, with fierce debates over his crimes and fame. Though acquitted criminally, a civil lawsuit forced him to pay $33.5 million, marking the fall of a once idolized figure. But his scandals didn't end there. In 2007, Simpson led a group into a Las Vegas hotel to retrieve sports memorabilia he claimed was stolen. Brandishing a gun, he shouted, "Nobody leaves? These are mine." This led to a 33-year sentence. After good behavior, he was paroled in 2017. Still, these events turned Simpson from a sports and entertainment icon into one of America's most notorious figures. His reputation and career were irreparably destroyed. 10. Rick James. The wild life of the king of funk. Rick James was a funk star with countless hits, a gifted musician and singer with an unmistakable style. His music took funk to new heights, turning performances into vibrant storms, and his fame spread across America. But alongside the spotlight, Rick James's life veered into drug-fueled madness. In the late 1970s to 1980s, Rick James was known not just for music, but for erratic stage behavior. He'd appear high, yell profanities, abandon songs, or clash with audiences. But the peak of his madness wasn't on stage, but at home. In 1991, he kidnapped a woman, held her in his Los Angeles home, and assaulted her for days, all while freebasing cocaine. A year later, he and his girlfriend attacked another woman in a hotel. These acts shocked the public, turning Rick James from a funk idol into a scandalous figure. Legal intervention came in 1993, with Rick James sentenced to 5 years for kidnapping and assault, serving until 1996. During this time, media replayed his brutal acts and abandoned performances. His private life was exposed, revealing drugs, debauchery, and fame's pressures as the triggers for his violent, sinful choices. After prison, he admitted in interviews, "I was wrong, but drugs controlled me." His career plummeted, music contracts dwindled, and Rick James's fame never shone as before. He died in 2004 from heart failure, with cocaine in his system, ending a turbulent life, where a funk icon became a symbol of madness and self-destruction. 9. Dennis Rodman. The eccentric antics of an NBA star. Dennis Rodman was one of the NBA's most famous players, with elite defensive skills, incredible rebounding, and a career stacked with championships. He stood out not just on the court, but as a cultural icon with his eccentric style, bold fashion, and larger-than-life persona, drawing all eyes to his every move. In 1996, Rodman appeared at a book promotion event in a white wedding dress, stunning the crowd. Unfazed by stares, he embraced his unique style and personal freedom. A year later, he shocked the NBA. During a tense game, he tripped and, in a fit of impulse, kicked a cameraman in the groin while being filmed. The NBA didn't let it slide. Rodman was fined $25,000, suspended for 11 games, losing millions in earnings, and condemned for his reckless behavior. His personal life was equally chaotic. In the 1990s and 2000s, his wife Carmen Electra and others accused him of domestic violence, with police intervening multiple times. These incidents reflected Rodman's dark side: impulsiveness, alcohol addiction, Undiagnosed mental issues and NBA pressures pushed him past normal boundaries into extreme behavior. His eccentricity and violence became his brand, making him a cultural icon but also ruining his personal image, leaving a controversial legacy. Fans remember Rodman for both his talent and his bizarre antics, legal troubles, outbursts, and broken relationships. 8. Suge Knight, a life of violence, crime, and the fall of a death row mogul. Suge Knight was a hip-hop legend, famed as the manager and co-founder of Death Row Records, launching stars like Dr. Dre and Tupac Shakur to glory. His success was tied to absolute power and ruthless decisiveness in the music industry. In the 1990s to 2000s, he terrified the music world. Once, to force Vanilla Ice to sign a contract, Knight dangled him over a balcony, warning that defiance came at a price. He didn't just threaten, he assaulted artists and partners, using violence as a control tool. His aggression, ties to criminal gangs, and drug and alcohol abuse made him a symbol of the music industry's dark underbelly. In January 2015, his simmering violence erupted. In Compton, during an argument on a film set, Knight ran over 2 men with his car, killing Terry Carter and injuring another. When asked, he claimed he was protecting himself, but it was clearly the climax of a life of violence and power madness. The crash led to a 28-year sentence in 2018. Knight's image went from music mogul to proof of hip-hop's brutal side. As Death Row Records lost its power, artists left, and Knight was isolated. From his glory days of elevating stars to his final moments in prison, his every decision and act was steeped in violence, his name forever haunting the hip-hop world. 7. Mike Tyson, the uncontrollable rages of the boxing king. Mike Tyson was a boxing legend, the youngest heavyweight champion in history, renowned for his terrifying strength and speed. His ring success awed the world, but outside it, Tyson acted like a madman, spreading fear. In 1991, he was accused of raping Desiree Washington in Indianapolis, leading to a 1992 trial and a 6-year sentence, serving 3 years. The case marked a turning point, from revered champion to condemned criminal. But after prison, he learned no lessons. In June 1997, during a fight with Evander Holyfield, Tyson bit his opponent's ear twice, forcing the match to end. He was fined $3 million, his boxing license revoked, and his image as a psychologically unstable figure with mental and reputational scars followed him forever. Beyond these high-profile incidents, Tyson frequently brawled outside the ring, from street fights over petty disputes to menacing threats against opponents. Drugs, alcohol, and career pressures worsened his impulsiveness. Mike Tyson wasn't just a boxer. He was a tragic embodiment of power in sports, where fame and violence went hand in hand. 6. R. Kelly, a sinful life and corrupted power of the R&B king. R. Kelly was a famed singer and producer with countless hits and deep influence in R&B. His success and fame earned global admiration, but behind the spotlight was a life steeped in criminal darkness. From the 1990s, he began controlling and manipulating young women, many underage, luring them into a network he built like a sex cult. In 1994, he illegally married Aaliyah when she was just 15, evidence of his control and power. His abusive behavior spanned 2 decades, including producing pornographic videos, turning R. Kelly's name into a symbol of hidden cruelty in music. Not until 2019, through the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, did the world see his dark reality. In trials from 2019 to 2022, Kelly insisted he was innocent, even shouting that people were trying to kill him. But the truth couldn't be hidden. He was sentenced to 30 years, stripped of power and fame. The stages, once alive with his music, now hold the image of a universally condemned man, his music boycotted, his corrupted power destroyed. From R&B star to punished criminal, R. Kelly is the starkest proof of a legend's downfall. 5. Bobby Brown, scandals from uncontrollable rages. Bobby Brown was a renowned singer with a solo career and a role in New Edition, marked by chart-topping hits. His stage presence won millions of hearts, but his offstage life was riddled with scandals. From the 1990s, his marriage to Whitney Houston grew tense, leading to repeated domestic violence incidents through their marriage until 2007. Beyond that, Brown often appeared drunk at New Edition performances, abandoning songs, shouting randomly, or rambling in interviews, projecting a deeply unstable image. Heavy alcohol and cocaine addiction increased his violent and erratic behavior, with career pressures and strained relationships fueling his loss of control. The result was constant arrests for domestic violence and DUIs, plus a golden marriage's collapse, fully destroying his public image. Though he tried returning to music after scandals, his career never regained its peak. 4. DMX, a chaotic life woven with talent and madness. DMX was a standout rapper and actor, tied to iconic hits, captivating performances, and a unique stage style. His music success made him a 1990s hip-hop icon. Yet DMX's life was marked by uncontrolled behavior. From the 1990s, he faced arrests for assault, drug possession, and traffic violations. In 2004, his madness peaked when he impersonated an FBI agent at JFK Airport, threatening a man and attempting to steal his car, claiming to be a federal agent. His interviews and performances often turned chaotic, barking like a dog, shouting for no reason, abandoning songs. Cocaine and crack addiction, plus bipolar disorder, made his emotions and actions unpredictable. His violence and impulsiveness, like an uncontrollable volcano, led to multiple prison stints, notably a 7-month sentence for the 2004 carjacking, severely damaging his image despite his admired talent. His bizarre behavior, scandals, and troubles ended only with his 2021 death from a drug overdose, closing a roller coaster journey of talent and madness. 3. Kanye West, the rebellious genius with unimaginable behavior. Kanye West, a famed rapper, producer, and fashion designer, conquered Grammys, dominated charts, and became a contemporary cultural icon. No one can deny his talent, nor can anyone deny his madness. In 2005, at the Grammys, he interrupted the stage to protest an award. 4 years later, at the 2009 VMAs, he disrupted Taylor Swift's speech, shouting that Beyoncé deserved the win. These acts made him a focal point, criticized for impulsiveness, yet praised for candor. From 2020 to 2022, his erratic behavior escalated beyond the stage. Social media posts with anti-Semitic content, conspiracy theories, and personal threats stunned the public. His bipolar disorder, career pressures, post-divorce stress with Kim Kardashian, and relentless scrutiny pushed him into impulsive, extreme acts. He was banned from Twitter and Instagram, losing major sponsorships. To the public, Kanye West is both a musical genius and a deeply unstable celebrity, with a career and personal life in profound disarray. 2. Aaron Hernandez, the NFL star who fell into a pit of crime. Aaron Hernandez was a standout NFL player with rare speed and strength, a pride of his team and idol to millions. His on-field success promised a bright future, but his off-field life defied expectations. In the summer of 2013, Hernandez shot and killed Odin Lloyd in a Massachusetts industrial park. He was also suspected in a 2012 Boston double shooting, revealing a pattern of violence. In his 2015 trial, Hernandez maintained his innocence, but his demeanor reflected deep psychological turmoil. His life revolved around violence, drugs, and gang ties, crumbling his NFL star image. Later studies found he had CTE, brain injury from football, combined with mental issues, partly explaining his violent, self-destructive behavior. In April 2017, Hernandez took his life in prison, leaving a brief note: "I lost at life, but I love you all." His death ended a promising career and sparked debates about the NFL, CTE, and how society handles stars who destroy themselves. 1. Chris Brown, the R&B icon mired in violence and scandals. Chris Brown was a shining R&B star, famed for his smooth voice and captivating dance moves. His hits propelled him to the top, earning global recognition for his talent. But in February 2009, Chris Brown's radiant life veered into darkness. Before the Grammys, he assaulted Rihanna, leaving bruises on her eyes and lips. The heartthrob star image shattered in a moment of recklessness. After the incident, Brown received 5 years of probation and community service, but the tragedy didn't end. From 2013 to 2017, he faced further assault and sexual misconduct allegations. Brown denied these later claims, calling them fabrications, but the media stains lingered. His uncontrolled anger, career stress, a violent childhood, and underlying mental issues led to impulsive, unpredictable behavior. Though his music career continued with new hits, it never returned to its peak. His public image remains divisive, leaving fans and media both admiring and wary. These stories are clear proof that fame doesn't guarantee peace. For whatever reason, each reckless act, each impulsive decision left an indelible mark on their lives, turning them into madmen in the public's eyes. What do you think of these stars? Do you see them differently now? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, and don't forget to hit subscribe to catch our next videos, where the hidden corners of the celebrity world await your discovery.